Okay, people, here is a little tip if you want to survive. So there's 14,000 people killed by COVID in the world and 14 in New Zealand at the moment. And there's 1,451 cases put up to date now, and it's 2020 in April. So you need to know. Okay, so when it came to the olden days, I know a fella that's in his 90s, and he said to me the secret that he lived. He survived a number of plagues in England, and many viruses and germs and pox and stuff. But one thing that he said was that they had a lot of coal fires in the poorer cities where he lived, and that made a lot of people choke. So yes, he got asthma. Asthma is a sensitivity to breathing with your mouth. If the air gets cold, fluctuations in temperature, sudden changes and dust and irritants and dust particles and mites and shit and feces from bugs like cockroaches and dust mites and so on, or some people even have magnetic field resistance, and if you sleep near your landline, you're a fucking idiot. You won't be able to walk because your body is electrolytic and has plasmatic fields, or magnetic fields, I mean to say, and it won't work. It won't work fuck all. If you're crippled to fuckery, you're a fucking idiot, because you've been living in your bedroom with a fucking magnetic field, and your body is supposed to have its own magnetic field. But if it's interfered by something that's high rate and constant magnetic field, you're becoming paralyzed by that landline. Are you too fucking stupid? Are you that thick that you've got to have a fucking poisoning magnetic field interfering with your body's magnetic field? No wonder you can't walk like a fucking gorilla. A gorilla, he's tough, but he don't go near a magnetic field. He lives in the bush. So put your fucking phone in the main house or in the hall, but not fucking near your sleep zone. Nowhere near your brain. People get cancer and become sterile because of landlines or magnetic fields from phones that are on them. So wake up, okay? Get a brain. Fucking use some sense. Keep that shit away from you, 6 feet away. It's going to give you tumours and cook you. You know, so be sensible, right? So now that I've got your attention on being a fuckwit, let's talk about how the guy survived. In England, long ago, many people died from asthma. Now, asthma is, like I said, sensitivity which produces mucus in your lungs. So if you inhale in through your mouth with anything that's irritating, like cold air, some people are sensitive to cold air. I in particular am. So this guy, he lived in a place which was poor, and the heating, he couldn't afford it. So he had to sit upright because his mucus in his lungs, sounds like COVID, eh? His mucus in his lungs would build up quickly. As soon as some idiot came and opened a cold door from outside where the snow was, the cold flushes of air would rush in, and he would have lung seize up. And mucus would flood his lungs, and he'd have to go to sleep, lying down, but straight away, not only the mucus came, the white cells came too, and they drowned him. So his parents used to pick him up and knock him around, and it used to wake him back up again. But the thing is, not everyone wakes up. So what you got to do is you got to sleep sitting upright. That's what his secret was. He had a hunchback. In his later life, at 60, he had a hunchback. On the back of his back was a big hump, and I used to say, oh, you used to always just sit in a million, Uncle Dr. Scrooge or Mr. Scrooge, old office chair and sit there all your life and be a mean bastard and never give money presents to your kids or anything? Were you one of those pricks? Why are you a humpback? You look like, just an ugly cunt. But he said, no, don't talk to me like that again. I want you to listen, and I'll tell you. He told me how he was asthmatic and how his lungs used to be sensitive to the coal fires and to the cold flushes and to the dust. And there were a lot of mice and rats in England, so there was a lot of mouse and rat feces around, and it would get in the wind and blow into your lungs. Of course you got asthma, of course you got mucus. But what was the secret? Well, he said, I had to cover my mouth a lot because the dust and that, all the rat shit and all the flea shit, everything would end up inside my lungs. And I would choke, always choking. So that's part of it. But he said the only way I could breathe was to sit up, put my back against pillows and keep sitting up while I was sleeping. Try to sleep on those pile of pillows. At least if I was sitting upright, I wouldn't drown. That's what's going on. COVID, everyone's drowning because nobody knows what I just told about. Alright, so if you want to grow a brain and stay alive, maybe put a pile of pillows behind you until you're well, and then the more well you get, the more you can recede down and lie down again. But should the season change where you get too cold or your house is too dusty and you need to clean it, wipe down the walls, wipe down the surfaces because it sticks to the surfaces. What is it? It's filth. Plain and simple. Everything, all the sweat and stuff you stuck on it during the summer, it's now degrading, rotting, and getting filth. It's becoming filth. Everything turns back into ground. We were put here, but everything about us leaks and oozes and just becomes part of the ground again. Where did all this ground come from? Do you think it just magically appeared? No, it was eons of creatures excreting and trees rotting and feeding those grasses, and just everything turns to shit. Pretty much turns to shit. So, don't listen to all these ideals that there's viruses. Of course there is. People are getting sick because they're letting their lungs fill up. And yes, a lot of cold is coming our way because trees are dying, and if you put your hands up like a shield and block the wind, that's all good when you've got a million branches, a million leaves that can do it. But what about when the leaves die out because we're getting far away from the sun? Then the wind gets through the willows. So there are types of trees that don't go molting. If they could just put a few walls of those up, it could save our lungs, save our lives, keep us warmer, stop us from freezing and getting cold flushes, which cause our lungs to seize up. Mucus comes and tries to wash away all the filth. But then on that mucus comes all these little slugs. And those slugs are called white cells, and their job is to take the pain away. They're just trying to do their good job. Spread out their tentacles and take away the pain, because that's their job. They get rewards, whereas they don't mean to block the pores, but they just do it. They cover your lungs. So, who's in charge? Do you want them to drown you, suffocate you? Don't let the hospital take all your red cells, and don't let them take all your white cells, come up with a fairy tale disease, steal all the white cells and give it to the rich. Look what happens when you give away your red cells. Take 15 years to get them back. And some snaky bastard who's got insurance, who's not bald. Why? Because he's in some Grand Flute club where he can get a big mug of beer shoved up his ass every day. Anytime he likes. Get any fucking thing he wants. Get treated like a queen or a king or whatever. Whatever, man. Some of us, we've got to bust our ass and keep it so we can breathe. We're all the same. We're all going to choke unless we get a brain. So, try hard to think about levitation, angle of breathing. Like they had them on their stomach, on their chest. That was cool, but the truth is they need to be sitted up with pillows. You can sleep in that position. You won't die. That guy got real old and still alive today because of that very reason of being able to be propped up so you can keep breathing. So there's a secret.